Hello, dear beloveds. Well, I am going live right now, even though my body is a little bit out of sorts. I came back from Ireland on Tuesday evening, so not even 48 hours ago. And, long haul travel is quite taxing on the body, but I, used my tapping and kind of kept my vibe high, which was awesome. But I've come back and developed a little bit of gastro. Everything is kind of releasing. I won't go into the details of it with you right now, but it seems to be quite appropriate, this physical release for what my soul and heart and mind are experiencing too. And I just wanted to go live now and share what's happening for me since coming back from this quite epic pilgrimage, because I know that as the days pass and I kind of integrate everything and it becomes normal, this kind of wide open, raw feeling is not going to be so accessible. And I really don't want to wait. I want to kind of share while it still feels heart wide open, body kind of exhausted, and now going through this detox, unexpected detox. I just want to, tap into that energy and share it with you, because it's as my mum said to me this morning. She popped round to say hello and she said, "You're in an initiation right now." And I was like, yes, actually I am. And it seems really interesting that September, October of the last 3 years have been big initiation periods. And this trip to Ireland, like I knew the moment that I said yes, that the big kind of energies of meeting subconscious fear programs and releasing them began. I mean, from the moment I said yes. And it's so, I've shared this before, it was such a kind of humbling reminder of what happens when a woman says yes to the third level. Is usually the fear starts rising straight away. And for me, when I said yes on June 15th of this year to go to Ireland, all my fears of, what this trip would mean and up-leveling and going outside of my comfort zone and all of the expansion that would come with it just started. And I spent 3 months basically preparing myself by meeting subconscious fear, which actually is the work of my life. And so anytime I get to kind of squeeze myself a bit tighter and accelerate the process, I know I'm in the right place, because there is no time to fuck about. I'm not here for the, the comfort zone. You've heard me say that again and again. But this trip was so significant because not only was I meeting a new group of people who were willing to lead the revolution, the intuition revolution, and so beautifully came along to do that. I was connecting with two of my oldest friends who I hadn't seen. One of them, Janine, met me, the first person I saw when I arrived there, and she hugged me. And she said, something whispered in my ear. It's been 33 years, I think was the number, between times that we'd been in the same place. And then another dear friend, Holly, met me the next day and squeezed me and said, it's been like 24 years. And I'm like, oh my God, not only do I now have confirmation that I'm really old, it just felt so significant that these women were there and were there at my invitation, and they'd said yes, and they'd both traveled from England to be there with me in Ireland. It was just kind of momentous in that way, but it was also really momentous because, of course, this is the last time that I am teaching the Initiate program. And the Initiate program, if you don't know, is what started as a 1-day workshop, became a 2-day workshop, and then became an online program that I've now handed over to 16 graduates of the third level who will take this program out to the world, deliver it in any way they want, retreats, they'll take it wherever they like. Brooks just delivered it in a 21, or is delivering it in a 21-day format. It's up to them now to lead the revolution in the intuitive sciences and to keep taking this work out into the world. And I got to deliver it for the last time. And on Sunday evening, when I, the final words were out of my mouth, I broke down and I started crying. And it really felt like, an initiation. I don't know how else to describe it, like a child leaving home. And I think, you kind of do that with like this, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm ready, completely ready. You go do your thing over there. And I felt really sure that I was ready. And then all this emotion rose up, but actually the emotion was beautiful. And it was an evidence that, this is a big moment for me. And that big moment has kind of kept rolling. Of course, now my body is having this detox experience, which I did not request, but I'm happy to go with it. And it's such a powerful metaphor because I've realized how this frees up space for my core work in the world to get clearer and more powerful and more intentional, and to just be absolutely unafraid of that, because this work that I do of training women as qualified certified intuitive guides is so much more than a qualification. It's so much more than a year. It's like another layer has been revealed to me, and it's the response is evident. You know, the interviews are booked out. We don't even start the interviews till next week, and we're already booked out. We've had to go to a wait list, you know, for the January 2020 intake. This has never happened before. We already have like 7 women who've said yes. It's quite phenomenal, the response, but I understand why, because I've kind of peeled back another layer in my understanding of what this work is about. And I really, last night I was talking to Amy, who's one of the lead mentors and the operator, the owner of Temple of She, and we were both talking about massive up-leveling that we've been going through since really the last few weeks, and this kind of feeling of just like supercharging everything. Like there's no time to be sitting on the fence. There's no time to even be, you know, politely doing your thing. It's like all in or nothing. And how big do you want to go? How powerful do you want to be? And this power is not my power. It's my willingness to get out of the way and let infinite consciousness move through me. And these last few days have just been another shedding, and it's uncomfortable. And I'll admit that. I mean, my body's going through the release. My mind, my heart, my soul are going through the release, but it's exactly where I want to be. I'm being initiated again into the next layer. And I'm aware that, you know, I said this a lot over the last 4 days in Ireland. There's no top of the mountain. There's no like, oh, now I get to the top and it's all sunshine and roses. It's like we're on an accelerated awakening journey as a collective. But for me, you know, I made some notes for myself last night that I've been working with the Priestess Mystic Leader archetypes, this holy trinity, since the beginning of the 3rd level, but it's got clearer every year that this is how I serve women, to awaken them to these archetypes within them. And I guess what I realized so beautifully last night is that the Priestess Mystic Leader is not actually 3 at all, it's 1. This is, you know, when I try to talk just about leadership, or I try to talk just about the priestess or just about the mystic, it doesn't work for me, because this holy trinity is actually 1. And this oneness is everything I teach. I overcome duality thinking in my work. It's, you know, everything about my work is returning to the one mind of God, of goddess consciousness. There is no dualism. There is no separation. There is only pure consciousness masquerading as this kind of separation dream or nightmare that we're in. And, you know, my work will not compromise on that. And the Priestess Mystic Leader is the right energy to embody that. And she is 1. She is that oneness. The beautiful triangle, if you like, is the Holy Trinity or triptych. I know it maybe sounds like I'm just talking about what I always talk about, but there's something going on for me in this that is a deepening into the understanding of how vital this work is for me, not to play in any of the dualism at all, and to be uncompromising in that, calling women home to their unified power and to serve them by showing them how to work from that place. We think only in terms of, to borrow Nikola Tesla's phrase, energy, frequency, and vibration. You know, we don't buy into the idea that there's anything in the dream of this 3D material plane that can, you know, raise our consciousness. We raise our consciousness, and we raise our consciousness on behalf of all. So we are priestesses of non-local consciousness, and that non-local consciousness or intuition is really the only space that I want to operate from and talk to. And that is the harder path, because we want to keep falling back into the material plane, into the 3D comforts. We want to keep moving back into the idea that something in the dream can give us comfort and power. We want to believe that God is separate from us, because that's easier than knowing that we are that. And all of that is not part of what I share and what I teach. You know, we are priestesses, we are mystics, we are leaders of non-local consciousness, and we are leading everyone back to that truth when we do this work. And I just feel this has landed in me in a way that is so, as I say, so raw and kind of vulnerable, that I know I'm not conveying it well in my words, but I hope my energy is sharing something with you. I knew, and many of the wise women around me told me, that going to Ireland would bring me into a closer relationship to my work and a deeper connection, and I am altered by it, even though I know that process is still ongoing. I'm like right in there, right in the birth canal right now, head poking out, to be vivid in my description. You know, there's no way that this is finished. I mean, we're never finished, are we? But this particular initiation, I'm right in the middle of it. And, you know, it would be easy to sort of sit back and not talk about what I'm feeling right now. But I really want to show you, I guess, what happens when we enter into deep change, you know, and are willing to sit with the discomfort. I mean, this is really not that uncomfortable, other than the kind of, you know, gastro conditions, symptoms that I'm trusting is just me releasing what has been to move into what is coming and what is. And, you know, the vision for the third level just keeps growing and expanding. And I see the women being called up in bigger and bigger waves of energy and power. And I know that's because we are ready to come home to the truth of what we are now. And that every time a woman remembers that she is a priestess, a daughter of Mariam, and that this is her home and this is her place, whatever she does with it in the world gets brighter and lighter, and we free more and more others from the darkness of the nightmare that is, you know, the modern human condition. And there's no need for it to be that way when we overcome this belief in separation. So everything in my life sort of feels like it's getting more congruent and more able to support me to speak about that. And I feel the great agitation inside of me of the next book that is coming. And it is called Priestess Mystic Leader, because of course that is the space now. You know, I have this incredible group of women who are now taking the science of intuition out into the world. And it's my job now to move to the next phase of my service in an uncompromising way. And when you hear me speak now, it will be to speak to you about what this holy trinity of sacred feminine archetypes means, and how we can work with that energy, and how, you know, the third level is definitely the how of how we do it in the Institute, but how you can access that energy for yourself wherever you are and whatever stage of your life you're at. Just as I have freely shared everything I know about intuition, I will now speak about non-local consciousness, and the daughters of Mariam and the holy trinity of Priestess Mystic Leader. And that is my job. That is my task now. And it's thank you for all the love. It feels really, really deeply right, and some of it is unknown, and yet most of it is very, very clear. And it's my job just to hold on now and just to keep going, and to have faith that the women who are ready are going to keep rising and keep, you know, meeting their own discomfort of realizing that they're not here for the normal domestic, you know, pleasures or even pains of the normal human life. And those women are my women, and they're women who are doing the deep work of a deep faith in service to the greater good. And there can be nothing more important than that. We are not here for our own simple happiness. We are here for the happiness that goes beyond all personal identity and all personal kind of sense of comfort. Because if comfort is your measure of your success, then you're probably on the wrong planet. And I think that's kind of the point, is while we're trying to hold on to comfort in this collective dream, we're missing the purpose of our lives. And that is that, you know, there's only one of us here. Everything I do and everything I teach is fulfilling that truth. And I will train women to not play in dualism and to not play in the trinkets and superstitions of the new age. But all things that are not of the one mind, not of that God consciousness, really are the trinkets and superstitions. And I'm getting clearer and clearer in that as well. It's not, there's a lot that is not actually serving our highest good. And it might feel like it is, because it's kind of upgrading our belief systems and we're sort of breaking free of one limited belief, but don't trade that in for another limited belief. Let's go straight through that uncompromising path, straight and true as an arrow to the heart of what we are, which is infinite, unlimited consciousness. And nothing in the dream can determine what we are. What we do is train the dream, encode consciousness to create reality. And that is what my priestesses, my fear huntresses do. And that's our work in the world. So thank you for letting me share that. It's all sort of pouring out of me right now. And as I said, I could have waited until it was better organized in my mind, but I really just wanted to share, you know, all of it, all this journey and everything that's going on for me, and the absolute pleasure and joy in knowing that we're only you know, we're just, this initiation is just in process right now, and you know, there's more coming. I can feel it. But yeah, next Monday the interviews for the 3rd level begin. They are booked out at this stage. We do tend to have cancellations, so if you missed out on an interview, please put your name on the wait list, because there will be cancellations. It's inevitable. People have fear rise and circumstances change and life happens. So don't think you've missed out. Just know we have to kind of hold off on booking more interviews, because I need to honor that we can only have a certain number of women in each round. And if you book an interview, I want to be able to kind of guarantee that if you want a place and I feel it's right for you, that you can have one. So if we overbook, we put ourselves at risk of not being able to accommodate everybody. So thank you to those who have booked and responded to the call, and don't be surprised if, like almost every woman who comes into this process, that even booking your interview was the beginning of an initiation for you and a rising of subconscious fear. And please trust that. Please trust that that is the work of this program. And even for those women who never go further than the interview, even for those who book the interview and never show up, which does happen, please trust that whatever fears that are coming up for you as a result of being in proximity to this program and the energy of Mariam is serving you. And that, you know, as I'm sitting here with the unknown and the void and the discomfort, both physically and emotionally and spiritually, that is the best indicator to me that I'm in the right place. And, you know, sometimes it is just outrageous bliss and pleasure, but my outrageous bliss and pleasure can also come through the discomfort of the up-leveling process. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm really, really excited about that, because I you know, I'm just a few weeks away of going back to Mama Bali with this current group of priestesses, and you know, the magic that happens there, the power of that place is phenomenal, and the deep work that can be achieved there is all very, very exciting to me. Anyway, I feel like I might be rambling. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Thank you for your beautiful love bubbles that are floating up on the screen that just make me feel yeah, just really, really privileged to do this work. And yes, the next book is definitely in process now, and the work is being done, and the next phase of the revolution is here, and I am willing. So much love to you.